Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So they interfered with me making the last video to the extreme. So I'm going to keep this short. Let's start with the cloud, right? Christ is a character in the story. Is supposed to come back on a cloud, right? Okay. Now, explain to me why you think it is more logical to interpret the cloud as literal than figurative. Jeremiah 4:13 says, look, he advances like the clouds, like the clouds. His chariots come like a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe to us, we are ruined. So there's a pre-existing formula in the Old Testament that tells us that these things are figurative. We see that Christ cites the Old Testament, again, as a character in the story. In Isaiah 30, verse 30, it says, the Lord will cause people to hear his majestic voice and will make them see his arm coming down with raging anger and consuming fire, with cloud burst, thunderstorm, and hail. With cloud burst. Okay? So do you think it's talking about God manifesting an arm in the sky? Okay? That causes fire and cloudburst, thunderstorm, and hail? Do you think it's like a Mickey Mouse magician in Fantasia with a magic wand? You know, his wizard arm, when it says in Revelation, outside the gates of the sorcerers? Okay, it couldn't possibly be, right? They're feeling me, hold on. It couldn't possibly be. It has to be figurative. So before you act like some crazy lunatic, racist or some say, no, he thinks he's Jesus. Oh, he thinks he's Jesus, right? No offense to anybody. I have to illustrate that so they understand how ridiculous it is. You have to show me and everybody in the comments and the government that's watching why you think it is logical and sane and the wisdom of God to interpret Jeremiah 4:13 and Isaiah 30 verse 30 as literal. If you cannot do that, then the logical assumption to the wise man who keeps God's commandments is that it is figurative. And if it is figurative, what is it talking about? Isaiah 34 says all the governments, just mere 4 chapters away from Isaiah 30, says all the nations, all the armies, and all the governments are wrong. So every martial art that's like military martial arts is wrong. All the military martial arts are wrong. Senseless brute cage fighting is wrong. So what kind of warrior art is it talking about? Because it says he advances like the clouds, his chariots come like a whirlwind. And Exodus 15:3 says the Lord is a warrior. And Isaiah 30 verse 30 says he's doing these martial arts strikes. In verse 31 and 32, it goes on to say that as well. The voice of the Lord will shatter Assyria. With his rod he will strike them down. Every stroke the Lord lays on them with his punishing club will be to the music of timbrels and harps, as he fights them in battle with the blows of his arm. It is impossible to be of sound mind and to interpret that as anything other than figurative in a way that refers to martial arts. Now, is it referring to Asian martial arts? No, because they are Buddhist and Shinto and Hindu and Jain and Sikh or whatever else they are. Is it referring to European martial arts? They didn't do martial arts. They were the soldiers who killed Christ. They weren't martial artists. They did some kind of war arts, but they weren't mind, body, soul, spirit, monotheistic martial arts. They were polytheistic, following Zeus, who was a rapist, Jupiter, and Odin, and on and on. These people aren't God. Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language. So when you act like it's the white man's interpretation, you're not speaking the same language as your book says that is the language of God. And the Afro comes first because the culture and the spirit of Africa comes first. Thank you.